I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Now, in my opinion, that is one of the best, most iconic moments in all of Star Wars. I've always thought that was the moment after Luke confronts his fear and anger and he lets it go, that he finally and truly not only understands what it means to be a Jedi, but fully becomes one, as he declares to the Emperor, and as Yoda said he would be after facing his father again. However, according to a recent interview with Dave Filoni as well as Jon Favreau, it seems he, Filoni, maybe doesn't believe that to be the case exactly, that Luke isn't or doesn't exactly become a Jedi in that moment.
The interesting question is how you define, right, when someone is a Jedi. That's the real question, because a Jedi is a way of training. It's a way of philosophy and being.
Well, Grogu definitely trained with a Jedi.
He was trained when he was young, right?
And also
However,
with
Luke trained, and then Yoda didn't confirm that he was a Jedi. Remember, he says, "Oh, you think you're a Jedi? You're not so fast."
But then he also said,
when
you're gone, you'll be the last. You'll be the last Jedi.
When I'm gone.
I'm gone.
So it's interesting. It's like,
but we've seen a few more popped up.
Yeah. This is all we do, by the way.
Okay, so I've had several people send me that clip and ask me what I think, as well as seeing some people kind of online talking about and getting angry over this one and wondering if maybe Dave Filoni forgot how things play out in Return of the Jedi. Because as Favreau even tries to point out to him, Yoda very specifically says that after Luke faces Vader again, the last of the Jedi will you be, even though, yeah, there are still other Jedi out there potentially. Anyway, I do think I get what Dave is trying to say here about the Jedi, but he kind of contradicts himself a little bit, because he's trying to make the point that, and it's one I agree with, that being a Jedi is a philosophy and a way of life. It is something you are with every fiber of your existence, not something you simply do or some type of job you have. It's not a club you join and get a membership card for, and now you're in and good for life, and you can henceforth call yourself a Jedi no matter what. Nor is it something you can wake up one morning and say, I want to be a Jedi today, and that's that, you declare yourself one. It's something you not only train long and hard to become, but you have to practice at being for, essentially, the rest of your life. In fact, I think you could almost even argue that the title itself, the title of Jedi, is almost irrelevant in a way, with, ironically enough, Ahsoka being a prime example of this. She's gone out of her way to say she is not a Jedi, she's not a part of that actual order, and yet, as far as we can tell from her actions and what she says, she follows the ways of the Jedi better and more closely than most Jedi did. And I know there are some who want to call her a gray Jedi because she doesn't follow some type of organized structure but still behaves like a Jedi. They put her in the same category as Qui-Gon Jinn, who they'll say was more about doing his own thing over the will of the Council. But especially in the case of Qui-Gon Jinn, I'd say he wasn't doing his own thing. He was following the will of the Force above all else, and I'd wager Ahsoka more or less does the same thing. That doesn't make them gray Jedi, that makes them just Jedi, the very epitome of one, you could say, that they don't let any type of outside influence or code or counsel dictate their actions. They only listen to the will of the Force and let it guide them directly. However, and getting back to it, right after Filoni makes this point about it being a way of life, and again, he's made this point with the character of Ahsoka, I feel, he basically goes on to say that being a Jedi does require some sort of affirmation, that you have to pass these trials and then you get a membership and become one, that you can't just declare yourself one and be one even if you have indeed fully embraced the philosophies and the way of life. As I'd argue Ahsoka does without calling herself one, and as I'd argue Luke very much did at the end of Return of the Jedi when he did take the title. I'd argue he just knows he's a Jedi now and would have felt that way even if Yoda hadn't told him ahead of time he'd be one after facing his father. The same way deep down Ahsoka knows she's still following the ways of the Jedi but refuses to take the title because of past experiences, let's say, and because she knows being one is more important than calling yourself one, which again is what I feel like the point Filoni was trying to make here, but kind of got lost in the weeds, if you will. Though that said, and not to be contradictory myself now, but I don't exactly disagree with the other things he said. This idea that a Jedi needs to be, shall we say, knighted by a council. I very much get that to become a Jedi Knight in the Jedi Order, especially when it was this large organized faction as seen in the prequels, that you have to pass your trials. There's essentially a final exam or exams to prove you understand what you've been taught, that you can't just decide on your own that I'm a Jedi now. However, in Luke's case, again, not only did he get that sort of affirmation from Yoda ahead of time, not only was he told what his trials were to face Vader again, but he no doubt felt and understood what it meant to be a Jedi and had embraced it in that final moment when he declares it to the Emperor. And I really don't know why Filoni made any sort of argument against that or would in any way imply that Luke wasn't a Jedi when not only does it seem pretty obvious, but I think George Lucas very much intended for Luke to become a Jedi in that moment. That's what the story is all about. Again, I kind of feel like he's trying to make a point about what it means to be a Jedi, that it's a way of life, and I agree with that. But he picked a really poor example to try and explain it with when he used Luke. I mean, the name of the movie this all happens in is Return of the Jedi. And though some say that the Jedi that returns is Anakin Skywalker, and I think that's a fun thought and isn't exactly wrong, I still think it's primarily referring to Luke as the return of the Jedi, that is indeed the moment he becomes a Jedi. Well, that's all I got for you this time. Now it's your turn to take to the comments below and tell me what you make of all of this. What you make of what Filoni had to say. Was he trying to diss Luke Skywalker, as some people think he was? Or was he, in a way, trying to make a point about what it means to be a Jedi and kind of went about it the wrong way? Whatever you think, leave your comments below and let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.